Okay, so this is a lot of the chapter 3 material in the book is all about graphing, okay? Now I know we've done a little bit in chapter 2, again, inputs and outputs, remember x-axis and y-axis, things like this. So, if you have a look at these things down here, okay? So remember, if I kind of just draw just my own little graph down here, okay, let's get, as usual, the ink's wrong colour, let's get dark, okay? Right, so normally in the real world, remember we just have quadrant 1. Right, I know these have got all 4 quadrants in these graphs, but something that's increasing. Let's have a look. Okay, as the output value increases, the graph rises to the right. Okay, now remember, here we go. The x-axis, we always say as things are increasing. Time increases. Okay, we don't go back in time. All right, it's today, it's tomorrow, it's the day after, it's this year, it's next year, it's 2 years' time, it's 3 years' time. Time is always increasing. The x-axis is always increasing. Okay, but the result of that, okay, the y-axis, that might be decreasing. So over time, your house might increase. So here's a classic one here. If I just do this axis here, again, over time, your house might increase in price. Okay, but it also might decrease. But then again, let's say the value of your car. Again, time's always a good x-axis. Okay, T for time. It's the x-axis, all right? But the value of your car might decrease over time, okay? Things like this. Hopefully your weight might decrease over time, okay? If nothing's changing, over time, your house price stays the same, your car value stays the same, your weight stays the same, that's constant, okay? So think things increasing, decreasing, and constant, always from left to right, okay? Think of the number line. Okay, so let's have a look at some other examples. So, what we're saying here is look at a graph, and you're going to have to do this on the test. Look at a graph and explain things that are happening, okay? What's happening, for this case, over time. So, can you see? Your body temperature is normally at 98.4, 98.6, okay? So that's where this is starting. And all of a sudden, your body temperature seems to go down here. It's decreasing up to, I don't know, let's read this one off. I'm not sure exactly what the time might be. Somewhere between midnight and noon, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe. Who knows? I'm not exactly sure there, about 7 o'clock maybe. So your temperature is decreasing. It then increases. Okay, so maybe it's just the fact that it's night time. You're not sick or anything. Sometimes your temperature might go up if you're sick. But notice, now here's an important thing to think about. Your body temperature is only a certain number at any time of day. Your body temperature is not going to be 98 degrees and 100 degrees at, say, midday. All right, it's only going to be one specific temperature. And do remember that, because we're going to be talking about functions within this chapter. But can you see that there's only one unique body temperature for one certain point in time? Okay. So that's just you explaining what's happening, okay? Things are decreasing, your temperature's decreasing, it's then increasing, it's going up over time, and maybe here we might call it constant, about constant, okay? So, again, that's just you interpreting a graph. I think we'll leave that one there, go into the next one. Right, here's another one. Net profits. Now, this looked to me like it's done over, for those in the business world, over quarters. Okay, remember, you know, like profits over the last quarter, Microsoft, Ford, Chevy, things like that. Okay, so it looks like this year is split into 4 parts, so we can say, okay, every quarter. Now look, again, profits are increasing. Okay, good. Here they're also increasing, okay, over the second quarter of the year, but not maybe as much, all right, but it's still increasing. Can you see? It's not as steep. So again, the first quarter of 2008, profits were increasing quite nicely. The second quarter, okay, increasing but not as much, not as steep. Now all of a sudden, third quarter, profits seem to go back down. Okay, you're still making a profit, but it's not as much. All right, profits are decreasing, and then all of a sudden, sharply, profits really decrease over the last quarter. Okay, so that's what we're saying here: increasing and decreasing. And again, looks like over this next year, things are increasing slowly, but profits increasing. Okay, so here the input is, I'll just put T for time. Okay, that's your classic input, is that time on the x-axis. Really remember, you're reading the x-axis for input. Output is the profit. I'll just put that. All right. And the interpretation is just what I said. Okay, profits are increasing, they decrease to 2009, start to increase again. So, put a little detail in there. How about the next one? Gross income. Now again, no specific period on this, but at least the input is time. Okay, T for time, capital T if you want to. And the output is the income. All right, again, think x-axis, think y-axis. Okay, x-axis, y-axis. Interpretation, well, looks like the income is increasing. Again, income's increasing nicely. All of a sudden it increases a bit more. There's no specific time here because there's no numbers on the x-axis. Then income decreases, okay, quite sharply. So over a short period of time, don't know what that time is, but over that short period of time, income has, basically from there, or rather from here about. So think about it, I'm reading along the x-axis. Sure, the y values, here we go, is from there up to about here, okay? So that large fall in income between here and here, okay? But the important thing is that's the T, all right? Look how small a space that is. Short period of time, big decrease in income, okay? And then, of course, it increases again. And I think that's okay for that. Let's just do another page. Okay, now this is a bit more detail now, kind of thing you'll see on a test. Now think about this. You drive to visit your parents, they are 100 miles away. Well, there we go, here we go. There's the 100 miles, okay? Now look, you are driving. You're driving. As time goes by, the distance from your house is more and more, isn't it? Okay, up to here. Now I'm going to do this one here, because look, over 1 hour, you have gone 50 miles. How fast are you going? You're going 50 miles an hour. Now look, the graph nicely keeps on going at exactly the same rate. There's no change in steepness. It keeps going up. It's staying at 50 miles an hour. And here's the reason why. After 100 miles, or rather I should say after 2 hours, remember, I should say that's the important thing. After 2 hours, you've gone 100 miles. Well, that's still 50 miles an hour, isn't it? 50 miles an hour you're going. So think about this when you're trying to explain what's happening on a graph, okay? You're traveling at 50 miles an hour for the first 2 miles. You've gone 100 miles in 2 hours. What's happening here? Nothing's happening. There's no change in distance from your house over the next, how many? 5 hours. Well, that must mean you've stopped. You're at your destination, which is your parents' house, okay? So for 5 hours, you've not gone anywhere, you're at your parents' house, okay? You are coming back to the house. Again, when you're at your house, think about it, this here is 0 miles. Okay, you are 0 miles from your house, you're back home. Again, it looks like you've gone that 100 miles, that total distance of 100 miles, read on the x-axis, from 100 back to 0, over, it looks like 2 hours again. You must have driven at exactly 50 miles per hour, okay, I'll write that down, on the way home again. But be careful though, it might change. You've got to read, okay, the y-axis, how far have you gone, over how much time it's taken, miles per hour. Okay, so that's interpreting it. Graph the distance from your house. Here's another one that hasn't been done. Last one, okay, promise last one. You started a new job that pays $8 an hour. Well, here it is. Here's $8 an hour. You get that, okay, now you get a raise every 6 months. You get a raise every 6 months. Okay, now which means you're still at $8 for the first 6 months, okay? After 6 months, you get a $2 an hour increase. So maybe I should go straight up here. Okay, so after 6 months, you're now at 12. Oh, sorry, my fault. Okay, that's $4, isn't it? I'll just erase this. Okay, there. All right. So you only get $2 an hour for 6 months. So 8 becomes 10. So for another 6 months, you're now being paid $10 an hour. Okay. All right. You get another $2 raise. All right. And this is up to 18 months. Okay. Here we go. 1.5 years. So again, you're now at $12 an hour. I'm going to stop it there and think, right, okay, after 1.5 years, 18 months, you receive a promotion that gives you a wage increase of $5 an hour. Right, from 12, doesn't that take you up to 17, which is halfway between 16 and 18, okay? So after 1.5 years, you've got a $5 an hour increase, but your next raise won't come for another year. So I'm going to go flat on here. So 18 months, so what's a year? Another 12 months. That'll take me to 30 months. Is that right? Okay, let's make sure we're okay on this one. After 1 year, which is 12 months, so from 18 months to 30 months. No wage change. First 2.5 years. So hopefully 2.5 years. Yes, there we go. I've stopped at 30 months. I must have done it right because it says sketch it for 2.5 years, which is 30 months. Okay, so that's what that looks like. I don't think there's any more on here really. Let's have a look. No, that's it. Okay, so look at that one. I'll just hold that one there and see if you interpret it just as I've done. That's the sketch for your wage raise. Okay.